if you're qualified to be in that room, you shouldn't be in that room. You should be leveling up to a higher room so you feel unqualified. It's a mindset. I know people that are rich in their thinking, but their money hasn't caught up to their thinking. The ones that are doing all the talking are the dumbest ones in the room. The ones that are doing all the listening are the smartest.
Go into your Facebook group and your contacts, label all the people you know for a fact they got $50,000 to invest. If you go in there and you don't find 10, your network is shit.
And here is what makes you legit to be in the room. The hunger to do more and the discipline to apply effort to do more.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Hey, Blue Collar Millionaires, Chris and I back again. A topic today, it's going to be a little bit about borrowed belief and getting into rooms. Chris and I met in those rooms, created a really cool business here, Blue Collar Millionaire, own 2 other businesses together as well. All my business partners are people I've met in those rooms at this point. They're motivated people. Not everybody's the same in those rooms. Not everybody is, but why do you get in those rooms, Chris? It could be anything. It could be a mastermind thing. We'll talk about maybe seminar things. I'm not huge on that. I like more intimate things like I'm doing today, a dinner with 8 guys. They're all in the Blue Collar Millionaire group. Yeah. I've met them all in that group. I've become good friends and business partners with 2 of them. And I'd probably be in business with all of them at some point. So tell me about your experience on that. And we were talking about earlier about maybe not being honest with yourself and feeling you don't belong in some of these rooms and how that might have affected you getting in those rooms and not committing to it. Because I find that to be very common in my DMs.
I think, well, a lot of the rooms, they sit there and they throw qualifiers out there. So that's one reason people might, for instance, Blue Collar Millionaire. The word millionaire might think, okay, well, if I don't have $1 million in the bank, then I'm not supposed to be in this room. But the reality is it's a mindset. I know people that are rich in their thinking, but their money hasn't caught up to their thinking. And we try to take what we learned in school in the cliques. Your school, you have the little groups. I moved schools a lot when I was younger because we moved around multiple times. And I remember always thinking, I've got to impress to fit in. And when you go into these business groups, that's the opposite of what you should be doing. If you show up and you're very humble and eager to learn and you have nothing to prove, those are the ones that take the information in. My dad said something very smart when I was younger, and he said it multiple times too. And he said, son, the ones that are doing all the talking are the dumbest ones in the room. The ones that are doing all the listening are the smartest. Why? Because you're the one walking away with all the information. You gain new information by sitting in that room. So I remember the same feeling when I started going to masterminds about 6 years ago, getting in the groups. I was like, man, I'm not even supposed to be here. I went to a real estate group on no real estate. We did the round table and I was like, holy crap, I got nothing to talk about. It got to me and I said, I got a trades business. I want to get into real estate. I really don't have anything at the moment. I'm here to learn. I guess my problem would be is to know what the first steps are that I should be focusing on. And immediately the experienced guys that have a mindset of abundance and not scarcity, they immediately was like, you need to be looking at deals. So you need to be telling everybody that you're looking for deals. Secondarily, you need to be looking for money. You need to be telling everybody that you have deals if they have money. And those are the 2 things that you need to be announcing. And so the reality of, are you qualified to be in a room, means that if you're qualified to be in that room, you shouldn't be in that room. You should be leveling up to a higher room so you feel unqualified. But our ego says, I need something to prove that I'm legit to be in here. And here is what makes you legit to be in the room. The hunger to do more and the discipline to apply effort to do more. If you have those 2 things, me and Kevin both have seen it. I've seen it happen in my life. We've seen it happen in groups that we've, hosted and been a part of. Superstars flock to those people because that's a rare quality. It's very rare. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the tomorrow millionaire and billionaire. Nobody wants to put the work in. When you see someone that shows an attitude as a student and they're willing to go put the work in, you will get all the help that you want to get. You won't have to hunt for it. They will hand it because they have so much knowledge and experience, they're just going to hand it over. So get past yourself. It's a backwards thinking. We're not in high school anymore.
I'll give you 3 types of room and then how you can frame it in your brain to be in it. Well, one is free meetups, real estate meetups in your group. To me, there's nothing there for me. Maybe it's because I'm in year 36, but even 20 years plus years ago, it was a lot of tire kickers, people who are thinking of doing it, people looking for capital. I'm not saying don't do that, but you're not going to get super high level guys there, probably. The other one is seminars, paid seminars. It's a 2-day event. Yes, you can get people, you can meet people there and stuff. It's cool. I like the more intimate things. It's too hard. There's hundreds of them. You don't know who's who. I like the more intimate paid masterminds. There's a group of 15 guys. Everybody's committed. The person who's running it is vetting them. I vet people. It takes a lot of time. Chris knows. That's why I don't do as many events, because sometimes guys are just trying to sell shit or they just want to get in. I want to make sure I'm bringing them around my friends who are high level guys that they can get something out of it too. Like, I've been in masterminds where I feel like everybody's asking me all kinds of stuff and I'm paying to be in this. I want to help guys, but I want to balance. I want guys you can connect with, guys who can pull you up about whatever their expertise is. And then there's dinners like tonight where I'm paying for it. So it's not a paid dinner, but it's intimate and it's small. And we've done paid dinners like that, UFC events, Chris and I, and you get 8 or 10 guys, man, they're high level. But don't think about your revenue and what you did. All you have to, Chris, I already know Chris's answer. Who would you rather? A guy who sold for 8 million and he hasn't really done anything in 2 years and he's just kind of there, or a guy who's never hit 1 million, but he's hit 800 in revenue, but he's got a great attitude and he's growing? I'll take the second guy all time. So don't worry about what other people did and whatever. Go in there. You get what you put out of groups. If you come to our groups and you're a wallflower, Chris and I are going to go get you and bring you into that group. Not all people are going to do that. A lot of guys, they're like, all right, if he wants to sit over there. You have to go in there with the intention of, there's a great thing from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Interested people are interesting. Just listen and be interested in them. And people will tell you all kinds of stuff. And if you're in the right rooms, you're going to learn all kinds of stuff. I know that feeling because when I first came to Atlanta, I was doing well in my mind, but my mentor was probably worth $75 million. And he brought me to a group and everybody was 20 something years older than me. And I remember thinking, like, am I going to have to, like, what should I tell them? I don't want like a gutter company, even though I was doing well. And he said, bro, just do your thing. He didn't say bro, but he's like, just be you. Trust me. You're here for a reason and just do your thing. And it was like a dinner, and I did a few more with them. It was just incredible. It's just these guys who fight over the check and they have awesome conversations and they were so interested in what I'm doing. And they were looking at me like I was their son, like on the come up. Mm-hmm. And like, man, and they were like, man, you're going to sell for 15, 20, 30 million dollars. Like, I was like, man, they believe I'm going to do it. They had this attitude. It was powerful. If I went in there, I was absolutely the low dog at that table. So be okay with doing that. Guys like that want to be experts. People like to be experts and tell you what they know. So let them. And then you'll be able to do it in other groups and you'll be able to do it. But you have to get in those rooms, be open to listen. I was just sitting there listening, asking questions, seeing what guys are doing. And then they started feeding me and giving me suggestions. It was cool. That got me hooked. That got me into the mastermind groups. I was like, man, I need more of this. And people like that are generally positive, family people, care about everything, their integrity, all these things. Are there scammers out there? Of course, but you'll read them a million miles. And another thing is, don't go in there and start boasting and lying about revenue. I'm not going to say who. Chris might know, but there's a guy who came to one of my groups. I actually know what he was doing in revenue. It was 1.3 million because I knew him and he told me. He was at my table and he was at 3 million. He had a couple more drinks. My girlfriend said he's up to $10 million of revenue now. What's the point of it? So he's just having conversations that aren't really going to help him at that point. There was guys in there who had big exits. He should have been listening more. He wanted to bang his chest. Don't do that.
I think that's super important to not gloss over what you said there, because you said he's not going to have the conversations he should have been having because he was stating he was in a different level. And it puts us, when we have an ego and we have to prove something, it takes us out of the conversation piece. that we should have been getting. When you go to these rooms, you're going there to, and let me step back again. You labeled it and put it into 3 buckets. You got your free, and we've done some free events. Those free events, you're going to have a lot of takers, not a lot of givers in those events. Then you've got your seminars. So that's where you're learning your skill set. You get some relationship building on the after hours around the bar, but during the day, you're learning the skill sets. Then you have your relationship style type gatherings, which is a lot of what you host over in Atlanta. You put a lot of these events together for us so that we really have a chance to just connect and build relationship. The first 2 guys I think about is the Harwell brothers. They showed up but you have to pay for the seminars and you have to pay for the private gatherings typically. And because it's a qualifier, like I said, if you go to the free event, you're going to see most people are in there. They're the takers. When you get into the private groups that you're paying for, there's nothing but givers in there. Everybody's got something to give. And so it just happens naturally in a conversation. The Harwell brothers, they paid over and over again to show up. And then now you're in deals with them. Now our friends are in deals with them. And they never had to ask for, hey, we're doing this big real estate purchase. We're looking for this money. It just came organic. They didn't ask you directly. It came up, what do you got going on? Well, we got this going on. Tell me more about that. I might be interested in that. I'm sure that's how the conversation went down. And I wasn't even sitting at the table when the conversation happened with you and them.
Yeah.
So I think of that, and everybody starts somewhere, right? So if you don't have any money to your name and you're bringing home $40,000 a year because you just started or you're in a W-2, go to the free events. Start to hear what the terminology sounds like. Start to hear and learn how to network. Learn how to ask questions and then give any information that you have in resource and knowledge. And then start to pay for some skill set and go to the seminars and then start to pay to get in the rooms. It is a progression. And this is how I've been able to see in the last 6 years, my finances, my relationship capital, my professionalism, my knowledge, everything, just hockey stick growth take place because I took a bet on myself, not knowing if it was going to pay off, but I thought, hey, if there's legitimate substance that I'm going to get from this effort, I know that I'll do something with it. I'll be a good steward of it. And then I just kept doing, and then I created relationships. And then those relationships saw that I was a player and then ended up creating a lot of opportunity. And I look back and I'm like, it's one of the best things I've ever done 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever it was now. So bet on yourself and understand that real players have an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And if you'll come genuine, regardless of what you've accomplished in life, they will pour into you and they will think highly of you because you stuck yourself in that room, especially if it was a paid room. Nobody thinks down on the smallest man in the paid room because we realize that might have been their credit card limit that they just maxed out to get into the room, which makes us even more starstruck when we're like, they're willing to do everything to get their life in a position where they're successful.
And I wouldn't suggest doing that, but we won't say that person because I'm going to use that credit card, but that person who became a partner of ours said they were basically putting it on their credit card to get in our war room, get around. He found some deals. We liked them. We got to know him. Chris and I ended up buying that business with our money and he got equity in it. I mean, I don't even think that's unicorn. It happens all the time. I'm not saying to do that, but he's committed. I was telling Chris earlier, so I was doing this event and I was saying, hey, I'm going to give 2 spots away. A guy who's had a 10 million exit or doing $1 million EBITDA. By the way, I got one message for that. There's so few of those people. So that you guys know, in the group of 300,000, I got one message on that. There's so few of those people. So don't believe that all these people are doing it. It's not. But then I had another one for up and comer, just somebody who's up and coming, not at that level. And I got tons of messages. But what I was telling Chris is, since it was in Atlanta and I've done other Atlanta dinners, I would see when I opened up the chat, I've already been talking to this person, but I forget because I talk to so many people. So I start scrolling up and I see all these opportunities they had to get into Hawks events, Braves events, Atlanta dinner, our elite thing. They took none of them. So do I want to bring that around the Harwells and all the people? This guy doesn't even want to bet on himself. He's just, hey, if it's free, I'll go. If you're paying for a steak dinner, I'll go. But when it was time for me to invest in myself, I didn't want to do it. I don't pick those people. I want people who, yeah, I'm paying for it, but I want people who are motivated to grow. It's just, I want to keep that room high level for our people, Chris.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not about revenue. It's not about money. It's about energy and what they're going to bring to it. I know that because I probably had that different times in my life where I felt like I'm not going to pay for that. I don't want to do that. What do I know? And guess what? I didn't do it. When I started doing it, a lot of things changed for me. It's not about money and deals. It's about friendships and mentality. It's all together.
Give this example. I had one of my sales reps wanted to go out and do his own thing, start his own window cleaning business. And I said, dude, there's no doubt you'll be successful. I said, but you still got a lot to learn. He's 22, 23, very young, a lot of energy, fantastic guy. And I said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go out and you're going to do your business out on your own, and you're going to be on your own island. And your learning is going to drop dramatically. And the only learning you're going to probably get is hands-on, in the field experience type learning. Yeah. And I said, when you're in the organization that we have right here, you have multiple people to learn from. You get to see different ways of doing things, and your learning is going to be expedited when you're in an organization. So if you're out there running your own business, you got to be plugged into some type of organization, whether it's free or paid, because otherwise your learnings get stunted. You stop. You may be a student, but you're not a student because you're not putting yourself in front of information. So this is why when I 6 years ago plugged into some masterminds and started, I did it for real estate, I did it for business, stayed in it steady, built relationships. And now we do our own thing inside of Blue Collar Millionaire with Boardroom Elite and these events we host. It was because it gave me an education source again that I wasn't getting when I was out there on my island running my business. And it's a very important thing to remember as an entrepreneur. If you're not increasing your knowledge as far as a leader, as business fundamentals, as the skill set inside of your industry, then you are stunting your growth and you will not hit your goals as quick as you should.
Great stuff. Last part of that, because we were talking on our last podcast about digging the well before you're thirsty on employees. You got to do it for your network too. Right. It's not about needing them. When I was looking at real estate 10, 12 years ago, I took this course, and this guy had a good course, and he said, go into your Facebook group and your contacts and label all the people you know for a fact they got $50,000 to invest. You know they're sitting on $50,000. And he says, if you go in there and you don't find 10, your network is shit. And I went in there and I was like, my sister, like I didn't know anybody. I didn't really know. I'm not saying they don't have 50 grand. They don't have 50 grand. I was like, wow, this is bad. Now think about Chris, because you and I know so many people, 50 grand, you could go way more. There's many people, Chris being one of them, that if they called me up, almost like that movie In the Town, when he says, I can't tell you what we're going to do, but we're going to go hurt some people. And he says, whose car are we taking? If Chris said, hey, I can't tell you what's going on. I need 100 grand tomorrow. Can you wire it me? I got you. I would send it.
Yeah.
It says there's no way. I have a lot of people I would do that to, and I feel like there's a lot of people I could do that to too.
My network looks completely different from 10 years ago, like drastic different.
But that network I had 20 years ago, I probably had some guys I could say, we're going to go fuck up some people. They'd probably been like, okay. They would have been down to do it. But if I said, hey, I need $200, they'd been like, oh, I don't got $200.
Right.
You switch your network. So we all get the analogy. That's the kind of guys you build. And it's phenomenal to do that because you can do things. We just did it. We're talking about the Harwell brothers. They said, hey, we're buying this apartment buildings worth 10.1. They got to steal $8.3 million. Do you want to get in on this? We don't want to deal with investors or anything. I was like, yeah, I want to get in on it.
Yeah.
Other people don't even know about. I'm not some LP or anything like this. It's my deal with them.
I go and experience any environment at least one time. And look, I want to make this statement as well, because there's probably someone listening and they're like, look, I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert. The majority of the business owners are introverts. They can't perform, but it drains them. And so when they get back to the house, when I go on my conferences, I need a day just to decompress. I just have to sit and chill and be me. I don't want neighbors coming over. I don't want to go out. I want to be in my house. I want to have food delivered to the house. Like, I just want to decompress. Most people are that way. You're not unique for being an introvert. So everybody's pushing outside their comfort zone. And I get it. When you don't know anybody in the room and everybody else, it seems like they know each other, it feels awkward. Just walk up and introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Chris Garrison. What's your name? They will reciprocate, and then you just stand there and listen. And then you'll find someone that you connect with if you shake enough hands.
Yeah, I mean, you go to any business network thing like that in real estate, if you go up to them and say, hey, where are you from? What kind of business do you have? Oh, I got a paving company. I'm in Tupelo, Mississippi. And then you just say, hey, tell me about your business. How's it going? How are you growing? They will get diarrhea of the mouth. They're going to talk to you.
We love to talk about ourselves.
Everybody wants to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. Getting those things. You can go to bluecollarmillionaire.net. You can look at events on a tab. We have stuff upcoming. I'm going to tell you a couple we have come up. I'm always doing stuff in Atlanta. We're doing our Chicago event, sold out, all done. That's July 17th, 18th. It's for Boardroom Elite members. We'll have another one in early November in Atlanta. What we're doing with that is we now add seats to that for people who are super motivated, potentially want to be our Boardroom Elite, where it's networking, it's talking, it's solving problems on calls. It's Chris and I teaching stuff that's made millions of dollars for us. Never theory, always what we've actually done. And then Chris and I were just talking about, I'm thinking about doing UFC in Philadelphia. That's August 15th, probably 9-10 guys. I want to say high level. It's not about your money. It's what you believe yourself to be.
That's right.
Give me a motivated person. I would invite myself 25 years ago. Let's go. I wouldn't even have known about it, but I would have been there, and I would probably been happy as hell to be there. And I would have been a sponge, and I would have been asking questions, and people would have been like, oh, this young guy is cool. He's up and coming. He's going to do something. Yeah, I would invite that person. And Chris too.
I meet people all the time that's way further than me, and I just soak it up. Matter of fact, I had Ray give me a phone call the other day, a couple of days ago, randomly. Hadn't spoke to him in months. He's exited a business and has more sitting in the bank account than me. And where did I meet him? I met him at a conference, a business conference, social type get together. It was a little bit of a seminar. And then we had multiple conversations, and just over time, we've built relationship, and we had a fantastic relationship. And the people that you meet in these rooms, man, it changes your network, and it makes that contact spot in your phone be way more valuable.
I'm friends with him too. He likes random phone calls out of nowhere in Texas, but that's a person who's sitting on a lot of money that he made in blue collar business, who's absolutely looking to deploy more money into blue collar guys.
He's doing it again, a roll up.
He already is doing it. He's looking to deploy money. I think people don't realize till they get around it. There's guys sitting with $25, $30 million looking to deploy money. Some of these guys selling $50, $60 million, even 12, 15 million. They're sitting on millions of dollars. All right, I'll give you an example for me. A guy who sold to private equity, I didn't really even do anything with the money. I just invested. It's not like I was living in a studio apartment while I was building this business. You are already making millions of dollars. That's what they already have houses and cars.
Right.
They're already doing their thing. Now they want to get back in the game. They want to hit more home runs. Those guys they come to our things.
Yeah. It's not the first year athlete that signed a pro contract and all of a sudden made millions in 1 year. It's not the rapper that had an album that hit. Like, these guys have been earning it, and they've gradually built up their lifestyle. And this money is just extra money. Now it's like, what do I deploy it?
They want to get back in the game. No different than I sold it. I kind of took off like 6-7 months. I did movie night every night. I was having fun with my family and doing it. But I'm like, I got to start building again.
Yeah.
I got to get back in the lab. I haven't hit a home run in a while. And I start slapping doubles around. And that's what we all want to do. That's my purpose. I want to do it till the day I die.
Amen,
I might take off 3-4 months here and there, but you do it on your thing. And these are the kind of guys that are going to be at that dinner tonight.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it.
Two guys with huge exits there tonight. They are 100% going to that dinner to find more opportunities and be around people. There's only so much time they can go up to the beach and mountains. They want in on more stuff.
You're in the game, man.
All right, guys. Go to bluecollarmillionaire.net, check out events and everything. You can always message me. You can ask me anything. Chris, too.
See you later.
All right, guys.